Good afternoon. Welcome to Lunchtime News. I'm Jackie Wambiru, and here are the stories making headlines this afternoon. We now turn to Old Kalau in Nyandarua County, where leaders are engaging dairy farmers ahead of the upcoming parliamentary by-election. Currently speaking is Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru. Let's listen in.
Your Excellency, Madam Governor, viongozi wengine ambao wameungana pamoja na wewe, aikari aitora ria Karau, nendia airia akambuni ya Karau, Ngai nĩ mwega hĩndĩ ciothe. Mimi leo niko na furaha sana nikiwa katika kikao hiki kwa sababu leo ni siku yetu. Na mimi nashukuru Mungu kwa kunipatia nafasi hii ya kwamba siku ya leo kupitia kura za wananchi wa hapa Olkarau katika siku ya mchujo nimepata nafasi ya kuwa mwaniaji wa kiti cha mbunge cha Olkarau. Pokeeni shukrani zangu. Mimi leo nikiwa hapa niko na shukrani sana kwa sababu mimi nimekuwa mmoja wa hii kampuni kutoka 2013. Koretwo ndi mwendia wa iria gũkũ ndĩri ĩno kuma mwaka wa 2013. Na kũrĩ hĩndĩ gwakinyire
Well, that was the candidate of the United Democratic Alliance for the Old Kalau parliamentary by-election, Samuel Mushinanyaga, addressing members of the public where discussions are focusing on strengthening the dairy value chain, improving market access, and addressing challenges facing farmers. We shall be bringing you more reports in our subsequent bulletins. For now, we move on. And we now cross over to the Integrity Center in Nairobi, where the commemoration of the Africa Anti-Corruption Day 2026 is underway at the Integrity Center. And the annual event has brought together government officials, anti-corruption agencies, civil society, and other stakeholders to reaffirm their commitment to promoting transparency, accountability, and the fight against corruption. Let's listen in.
According to the desires of the people, rather than because the party that that person belonged to had more money than the other people. So I think it's a very good bill and a very good move. Obviously, there are resistance from other quarters, but we will support it. Let me hasten to add that as a commission, we have not discussed this, so I cannot give an official position as a commission on what we are doing about it. The second question was, what are we celebrating? Actually, this is not a celebration because we cannot celebrate corruption. It is a commemoration, a day that has been set apart by the African Union, when we can come together across the continent and think through what actions, what measures, what are the issues that are surrounding issues of integrity and corruption within our continent, and what can be done about it. This time round, our theme has to do with scaling up actions that would enhance the promotion of integrity and corruption actions within the continent. And so today we are reflecting over those things. What are those things that we can work together as people of this continent so that we can defeat this vice of corruption? So it's a day of commemoration, not a day of celebration.
Yeah, Chairman, you also talk about Africa is not good. What does that mean to the African continent? And that, what message, what is the campaign there that the Africa is not good? What are we missing on fighting that corruption that Africa is not good?
I said already in my speech that when you look at the performance of nations across the world in matters of integrity, Africa generally is not doing well. There's a report that is given every year by the Transparency International, which is a global index. It is a perception, but that perception is as real as it holds, because many organizations, international global investors, look at those kinds of reports to find out where they are safe putting their resources. Those of you who do internet purchases, you may find that some organizations actually do not have African nations in their sale because they fear that some of the products that they are selling, if they land in the hands of Africans, they may be stolen. So you find that in the regions, when you go to select your region, you find your country is not listed there. These are the kind of impact that these kinds of perceptions would have in our trade, in our partnerships, in uniting together with the rest of the world in doing business within our continent. So it is important for us as a continent that we work towards building integrity so that people can trust us to come and do business with us, to come and invest in our nations, and to develop our people so that we do not remain a poor continent where other people come to dump their goods, but we can be part of the global community that is well respected where people sit.
That was the EACC chairperson, Dr. David Ogende, reaffirming the need for collective action in the fight against corruption during this year's Africa Anti-Corruption Day commemorations. We continue with more news. The government has assured residents of Busia County that measures have been put in place to enhance security in the wake of attacks against residents. Speaking in Nambale constituency, Matayo's Deputy Commissioner Julius Mayo said the government has strengthened security patrols and ordered a crackdown on criminals. He urged residents to cooperate with security agencies by providing information that will help identify criminals.
Ningependa kusema kwamba serikali imechukua hatua madhubuti kuhakikisha kwamba haya magenge yatakuwa mambo yaliyopitwa na wakati. We will ensure we have weed out all those old gangs, criminal gangs from our area, so that watu wetu waweze kufanya biashara na waweze kutembea bila wasiwasi.
In other news, the government has issued a stern warning against the weaponization of technology to cause public unrest. Speaking on the recent surge in coordinated raids and civil chaos across the country, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen warned against the use of deepfakes and artificial intelligence-altered imagery to stir up ethnic animosity and incite citizens to violence. He noted the National Police Service and cybercrime units have been fully mobilized to track, apprehend and prosecute individuals orchestrating the digital and physical disruptions.
For us to have the kind of leaders that we have. And I have said, whatever it takes, no matter what will happen, it is my business to protect the country from the violence and the hatred and the tribalism and the vitriol of one Rigathi Gachagua. It will be my daily business to ensure that I protect the nation. I saw him yesterday sharing AI-generated pictures of some people and said that, oh, these are hit squad causing violence. He cannot continue inciting violence in Kenya. We are now, Kenyans are clever people and they can tell who is for national unity and who is for negativity.
Traders and human rights activists in Isiolo County are accusing police officers of delaying to disclose results of a DNA test conducted on a slain businessman in Isiolo town 2 months ago. According to the residents, 35-year-old George Gitonga was last seen ferrying two unidentified men on his motorcycle before his body was found dumped in a thicket. Isiolo Baraza Park Traders Association chairperson Esther Keroja and human rights activist Salat Hassan Tadiche led the traders in demanding authorities make public the DNA test to ascertain the cause of his death. They argue
we call upon the government pathologists and relevant authorities to urgently release the DNA results relating to the tragic disappearance and maybe death of Getonga, whose remains were reportedly discovered only bones and clothes. The prolonged delay in communicating DNA findings has caused immense pain and uncertainty to the family, friends, and those seeking the truth. Timely release of the result is essential to confirm identity of the remains, provide closure to the grieving family, and uphold public confidence in the investigation.
Mpaka wa leo familia ya Getonga wanalia, sisi wenyewe kwanza mimi nikifika hapa naangalia Getonga na muona. Na tukionyeshwa hiyo sababu na tujue ni yeye. Tumuzike. Leo sasa tusitatulia. Hata msasi yake leo itatulia.
The Directorate of Criminal Investigation has confirmed a test by the Ministry of Mining have revealed a consignment of 10 kilograms of metal fraudulently passed off as gold worth 78 million shillings was fake. The tests show the metal comprises zinc and copper materials commonly found in ordinary padlocks. According to investigators, an Australian national, Adel Gabala, was lured into the fake deal by suspects identified as Dankanji and Muhammad Faraji. The duo reportedly staged an elaborate gold smelting demonstration in Kilimani to convince him that the metal was genuine. Video clips obtained by investigators show the suspects conducting the demonstration before presenting ordinary padlocks as refined gold. Gabala was then persuaded to transfer 78 million shillings to a law firm identified as Conrad Advocates, where the funds were withdrawn and he never received the consignment.
The minerals industry is the cornerstone in Kenya's economy, and it's important that the authorities work with the government in reducing this sort of behaviour in order for this industry to flourish, rather than taking a little action against it, which will not allow the industry to flourish. It'll just allow crime to increase, which makes the country more unsafe and makes foreign direct investment very challenging for the country, which is not good for the economy at all.
A section of Mombasa leaders are threatening to reconsider their support for the broad-based government following the demolition of more than 170 houses in Changamwe, despite a court order blocking the demolitions. Speaking during a meeting in Changamwe Housing Estate, the leaders condemned the demolition, saying hundreds of families were left homeless, property worth millions of shillings was destroyed, and education was disrupted. Mombasa Governor Abdul Samad Sharif Nasir accused the authorities of ignoring efforts by local leaders to find an amicable solution, pledging to ensure that the affected residents are compensated for their losses they suffered.
Mimi Mheshimiwa Faki, the county government will enjoin itself in this court process now, kwa sababu hakuna demolition permit ambao kwamba serikali ya county imetoa. Hakuna approval ya plans that the county government of Mombasa did.
Nilizungumza na wakili wetu na tukakubaliana kwamba kesho atapeleka application ya contempt of court against the police, against the PS, kwa sababu wao ni watu ambao walikuwa kwa hapa present wakati ile eviction inafanyika bila ya kuzingatia amri ya mahakama.
Lakini mambo kama haya hatuwezi kukubali yafanyike, kwa sababu mambo kama haya yakifanyika yanaathiri vizazi vyetu na yanaathiri watu wetu.
The Kenya National Union of Teachers has linked the rise in cases of violence and school arson to the emerging culture of hooliganism, with some leaders being implicated in those incidents. Speaking in Narok East constituency, the union's top officials, led by the Secretary General Collins Oyu, maintained that leaders have failed to set a good example in society. Oyu also opposed the widespread proposal to reinstate corporal punishment in schools and faulted parents for allegedly failing to instill good morals in learners at an early age. The union's national deputy chairman, Malel Langat, in his remarks emphasized the success of the education sector in peace and security.
With my colleagues here, I want to call upon leaders in this country. Lead by example. Why do you want to accuse hooliganism that is in this country if, as a leader, you cannot preach peace?
Lazima kuwe na hiyo amani ili tuendelee kufurahia na watoto wetu wasome, ili tusiwe na mambo ambayo yanatatiza mashule sana sana. SG, utaniruhusu niseme hii vitu tunaona wakati mwingine ya kukorofishana na migogoro inasaidia kuweka chini mambo ya elimu.
The Universities Fund is urging students placed in public universities for the 2026-2027 academic year to apply for government scholarships through the Higher Education Financing Portal. In a statement, Acting Chief Executive Officer Edwin Wanyonyi said that application portal, which also facilitates HELB loan applications under the student-centered funding model, opened on July 8th and will remain open until September 6th. The government has allocated 30.8 billion shillings for university scholarship this financial year to support eligible students admitted to public universities. The University Fund has advised applicants to submit accurate and complete information to facilitate timely processing and disbursement of scholarships, while encouraging parents and guardians to support students during the application process. Tana River residents have been urged to focus on peaceful coexistence amid a disarmament operation in Bangale sub-county following deadly inter-community clashes which left at least 6 people dead. Mohammed Ali also urged local leaders to refrain from making utterances that could fuel more violence and allow security agencies to arrest those behind the violence.
Naambia vijana wangu bora tusisikize waheshimiwa. Ati mheshimiwa kuja kupatia kitu akwambie anza vurugu kwa sababu wanapingana na mwenzake hivyo. Sisi tuko kitu kimoja.
Wananchi wasikubali kusikiza mwanasiasa ambayo analeta cheche mbaya za ukabila, kuzungumza hotuba ya kikabila, kuleta chuki katika jamii.
Tungependa wanasiasa na watu wa sheria, judiciary, wape nafasi salama, viungo ya usalama kama polisi wafanye kazi yao.
Still on matters education, Chania Medical College in Thika has launched a hands-on community healthcare training program aimed at equipping young people with practical skills for careers in the health sector. Speaking during the launch, the institution's principal, Erastus Mugendi, said the program is designed to prepare learners for opportunities in community health by providing practical training in basic nursing, first aid and patient mobility support. Mugendi noted that the growing number of elderly people patients with chronic illnesses and those recovering from illnesses have increased the demand for skilled caregivers both locally and internationally. He added that the curriculum will equip trainees with the knowledge and practical skills needed to support vulnerable members of the community while pursuing careers in healthcare.
person is aspiring to pursue a caregiving course, because we find that they secure jobs both locally and abroad. Course for the youth so that we can equip them, because we focus on hands-on skills, and also bearing in mind that in recent times you find that people fail to do lack exercises, and they need a lot of care.
We have other courses like perioperative data technology, where we have trainees who learn on how we operate different procedures in the theater and some of their roles in the department. We also have counseling and psychology. We have several students who are with us today.
The Principal Secretary, State Department for Technical and Vocational Education and Training, Dr. Esther Moria, accompanied by National Government Administration officers, visited Nyandarua National Polytechnic to enhance awareness and promote youth to enroll in TVETs. During the visit, Dr. Moria emphasized that for Kenya to achieve industrialization, the country must invest in a skilled workforce by equipping young people with relevant practical and industry skills through TVET institutions. She also noted that the State Department for TVET will continue to create awareness about TVET education to ensure more young people across Nyandarua County enroll into the institutions.
We are here to agree with Ngao because they are the people who are in the villages. They are the people who know where these young people are. They are the people who are implementing government machinery on the ground. We partner with them so that we have them bring the young people to our institutions, and once they are in our institutions, we shall be able to admit them. We shall be able to help them apply for government funding. We shall skill them. And we are saying that in as short as 3 months to 6 months and above, for those who want to continue, we will have imparted requisite skills for young people.
Teachers have been urged to embrace information and communication technology in classrooms to enhance learning and prepare students for the digital world following the introduction of the competence-based curriculum. This message took center stage during a computer donation exercise in Shinyalu. Dr. Philip Omunyonzo, a lecturer at Masinda Muliro University of Science and Technology, noted that digital tools such as animations and educational videos enable teachers to explain complex concepts and scientific processes that cannot be easily demonstrated in class. Separately, in Nairobi, during the annual Kids Conference at the Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, primary and secondary school students from across Kenya and other countries were challenged to embrace innovation, cultivate teamwork, and develop creativity and critical thinking.
We are now pushing these children to the 21st century, which requires a lot of innovation from the teacher. You can't go ICT minus the computers.
Now, there should be more support, not just during training, but also beyond the training. Can those ideas go to the next level of commercialization so that now these students employ themselves? The idea is they should be able to not look for a job, but to employ themselves when they complete the training.
From Matters Education, human rights defenders in Kakamega County are calling on relevant authorities to urgently address challenges facing artisanal miners in Ekolomani, Shinyalu and Lurambi. Speaking during a stakeholders forum, human rights activist Philip Mulumidi said mining communities continue to grapple with numerous challenges, including poor access to healthcare, environmental degradation and education-related concerns. Miners also raised concern over the increasing cases of school absenteeism and teenage pregnancy, which they link to activities around the mining site.
Tunaona retention ya wanafunzi madarasani iko chini. Wanatoka wanaenda kwenye migodi. Sheria inasema ya kwamba watoto wasifanyishwe kazi. Kazi ya migodi ni ngumu.
Watoto wetu wakiingia kule ambao wanachimba kule, wanatumia hizo madawa, na wakati wanatumia, hata yule technician ambaye anajenga shimo akiwaambia kwamba mahali ambapo state yenye shimo liko si mzuri, tuwache tuichenge ama tuendelee kazi, baadaye wanampuuza na unapata wanaendelea na baadaye unasikia kwamba ajali imetendeka.
That report brings us to our first break here on Lunchtime News. Don't go too far, we still have more news coming up.
Here comes Gordon once more. Gordon in the middle. Lovely ball. Nice control. Jude Bellingham equalises. It didn't take England long at all. Only 10 minutes. He's been prolific during this World Cup.
I mentioned Scholes, Gerrard, Lampard, Rooney, all of the greats, Gaza, had their own big moments. Bellingham has joined them, and can he eclipse them in this World Cup we're about to see?
Jude Bellingham pounces for his 5th goal in this World Cup. It's his 11th for England in 54 internationals.
Star 977 hash or download My Power app to access Kenya Power services fast and easy. Kenya Power, nuru ya Kenya.
Boniface Monene. I'm now supporting the France team because the France team has the capability to win this FIFA World Cup the year 2026. Remember that we are always live on KBC, Channel 1, and the KBC are doing the good job so that we can watch the FIFA World Cup live and direct.
My name is Newton Nyaswabu. I support France because it's a tactical team. It has the position, the center forwards, the strikers. You see, like Kylian Mbappe. He has more goals and is a bit challenge to the World Cup.
Naitwa Pavel na na support Argentina, but sahi naona hawako hivyo strong kama last World Cup. So wakipatana na France itakuwa shida, lakini wakijikakamua Messi afanye mambo yake watashinda tu tena. World Cup iko KBC.
The wait is over. KBC Iko Huduma Center. Starting with Nairobi, kupata huduma za KBC imekuwa rahisi. From digital guidance and signet services to booking of commercial adverts and documentaries. Visit our dedicated desks at Huduma Center GPO, Times Square, Makadara, Kibera, or Eastleigh. Tunakungoja hapo. Whether it's a casual announcement or a specialized media solution for your business, we are here to serve you. KBC at Huduma Centers, moving closer to you. Your station, your service.
Welcome back. This is Lunchtime News. Now, digital tools are no longer just for large corporations. They're increasingly helping small businesses become more efficient, profitable, and competitive. This afternoon, we're joined by tech entrepreneur James Ngogi to discuss how affordable technology is transforming the way small businesses operate. Now, to start us off, perhaps, what does it mean for a small business to run like a big company?
Thank you for having me. I think for small business, running as a large company largely means that they have the tools that allow them to execute in their corner shop, wherever the location may be, but they operate with the efficiency of a large corporation. This means that they have the tools helping them to manage sales and inventory, tools to help them manage leave and payroll, and to track their payment processes. Yeah.
Perhaps where are more small businesses embracing digital tools today?
I think the largest gap we notice, especially where in the team that I lead when we're building solutions, is that small businesses largely have leakages in payments. They have gaps in the way they manage their payroll and leave. And as a result of this, they have small leaks that lead to a large loss of revenue because they are unable to track, for instance, customers who take longer to pay, employees that take longer to return from leave. And when you compile this over a longer period, maybe 1 year, you notice that there's a huge revenue gap that the small business largely loses to this.
So perhaps do business owners need to be tech savvy to benefit from these solutions?
I would not say they need to be tech savvy, but if you look at the landscape of the country we are in, mobile penetration is very high. It means that every corner of the nation, whichever rural or household or urban household you look at, these people own a phone, and most of them have smartphones. If you compare this to, let's say, for instance, TV ownership, the difference is huge. So you'll notice that they understand how to use technology, and the reason why some of them may not use the technology that is available is not because of a lack of knowledge, but because of lack of contextual tools that understand the way their business operates. So they do not need to be tech savvy per se, they just need to have access first. And then we understand their need, and then we build towards it. Yeah.
Perhaps what are the biggest challenges when it comes to digital tools to help solve, or rather to help the small businesses?
I think one of the major challenges we need to look at is infrastructure, which I think, of course, the government is trying to solve through the Better Transformation Agenda. There's the 100,000 kilometer fiber being laid out. But we also need to look at issues such as access to credit, because of course a business having its own technology means they need to have finances to unlock purchase of these tools. But then we also need to look at the availability of tools that actually understand the way the market operates. So you realize that, for instance, in the team that I lead, we have products that help them to manage products that understand and operate in the Kenyan landscape. So this has been a major challenge, but of course, when we are looking at the industry we are leading in, the products we are building are able to meet some of these needs. Yeah.
Perhaps how can a point of sale system improve the day-to-day running of a business?
That's a good question. So I'm part of a team that builds a product called DPOS, a product that has helped to manage sales and inventory for businesses across the country. And if you look at the focus that we have is a focus in the rural areas. So we have clients in the remote areas of Baringo, Kiambu, Kakamega and so forth. And one of the things we note is that some of these businesses operate really well, but all the operations and processes are within the mind of the business owner. So once they employ a point of sale solution such as DPOS, they are able to track due payments. They are able to formulate a formula that allows them to work with farmers and allow farmers to collect feeds and inputs and pay later. And this kind of thing helps the business to have a quick overview over the process of sales, credit, and at the end they have a trail that they can use to even unlock financing. Yeah.
Perhaps many SMEs still manage their payroll manually. And what are the advantages of automating payroll?
That's a good question as well. So automating payroll, number one, the major byproduct we've realized through one of our products called HIMA HR is that by default, once you automate payroll and leave, you have unlocked compliance. Because once you are able to automate payroll and leave and have a track record of the way you've been running your payrolls over time, by default you get statutory reports that help you to be compliant, such as NSSF, SHA, NHIF and so forth. So the compliance shifts from being a penalty on the small business to being an outcome of just employing a HR and payroll system. Yeah.
Perhaps can technology help small businesses manage credit and cash flow more effectively?
Indeed, because once you employ a sales and inventory tracking such as DPOS, as we talked about it, is that, maybe let me digress a bit. You notice one of the major challenges that small businesses have, and especially from the surveys we've have had a look at from FSD and KNBS, is that the two major challenges are lack of capital, and the second issue is late paying customers. But the truth is you cannot keep track of late paying customers if you don't have records for this, right? So if they employ a solution that helps them to track payments by their customers, payments due to their suppliers, at the end of the day they have a quick overview, a general 360 view of their business, whatever the time may be. Yeah.
Perhaps what are some of the common misconceptions that stop small businesses from embracing technology?
I think some of them, for instance, if you look at the POS solutions that we front to our customers, some of them are the thoughts that, I don't know, KRA will have a look at your data, that it's very complicated, that you need to have a laptop or a computer to operate. And some of these are really misconceptions because so long as you have a device that has access to your internet, whether it may be a phone or a tablet or whatever it is, you essentially have your business on your phone. You're able to automate operations, you're able to view reports, and then you see the compliance bit. That bit comes as, by the way, as a byproduct of you automating your business. So these conceptions about if I automate, then KRA is going to see my data, I would say these are not really factual, and small businesses should shun away from them and think of the way they can automate their business so that they get compliance as a byproduct. Yeah.
How affordable are these digital solutions for small businesses?
There's a wide range of pricing options available, especially for some of the products that we front to our customers. We have options such as buy now and pay later. We have options for you pay a small amount every month. But of course the amounts range from a very small amount of 1,000, 3,000 and so forth. So this is available for small businesses, but if we look at larger corporations, of course the pricings are different. Yeah.
Looking ahead, perhaps, how do you see technology shaping small businesses over the next 5 years? I
would say, because you see, we are in I would say a market that is full of what we call the Gen Zs. And you see the Gen Zs they are technical natives. These are people who've grown up in the realm of technology. So they have a certain impatience. They want things to work for them quickly. And so it means whatever solution we are pushing out, whatever it is, what solution we are pushing out, it must have, first of all, work for the customer quickly. Number two, it has to help the customer shift from one business idea to another. Because Gen Zs are very opportunistic. They are able to notice and identify opportunities quickly. And they need to be able to shift from one opportunity to another. So I think if you look at the landscape and the nature of the technology we are deploying now, even what the government is doing in the private sector, is we need to deploy solutions that are able to shift from one business to another while limiting the entry capital requirements. And that's what we are trying to do with solutions such as HIMA HR and DPOS, as well as we try to get into civic accountability by solutions such as VoteRack, which helps Gen Zs who are trying to run for office to try and have an audit trail of how they are doing their campaigns, and at the end of the election, be able to track the election results as they come in. Yeah.
Now, speaking to a business owner who's watching us today, perhaps what's the first digital step that they should take?
I think the first digital step is, as I always tell my customers, you first need to identify your need. Because there's a wide range of solutions that you can deploy to your business, but you have to identify your pain point. Is the pain point that you're losing money because of lack of inventory control? Is it because you are unable to track payroll? Is it that your employees are spending too much time on leave more than they should? Once you identify your pain point, then the next, of course, step must be you have to identify which solution do I deploy. Do I look for an off-the-shelf solution that comes from other countries? Do I find a local developer such as us and try to build a solution that can meet my needs? Or do I employ an intermediary solution and say I'm going to do half manual and half digital? Yeah. Yeah.
And perhaps what's the biggest mistake small businesses make when managing stock?
I would say it's leaving too much to one staff member. Naturally, as we would understand, is that small businesses begin where we have maybe let's say one gentleman who's running their shop, and then slowly the shop grows, they employ one person or they bring in their wife, then it grows and then they bring another employee and so forth. So one thing we notice a lot is that if the level of responsibility on one individual within the business is too much, it means the business entirely revolves around that person. So if you're able to delegate these options and use a system that helps you delegate these duties across your staff members, it makes it easier to reduce the level of responsibility, and it makes it easier for you to replace whoever is unavailable. And that's where technology comes in. Yeah.
And can these tools work without constant internet access?
Indeed, that's a very good question, because we have to be alive to the fact that not every part of this country has very good connectivity. So some of the solutions we deploy have what we call an offline mode, such as our POS, where a user is able to make sales on the road, because as we understand the market is, we have guys who transport produce using their lorries from one market to another, and they want to be able to track and issue receipts wherever they're on the road. So some of the solutions we deploy have what we call the offline mode, which helps the business to keep tabs of the stock as they move and to print receipts. So no, we don't need an internet capability all the time. Yeah.
Perhaps how quickly can a business see results after going digital?
I think it depends by the business, but usually within the first 1 to 3 months, there's usually a big transformation, because some of the gaps we notice in businesses are things that can quickly be closed off, especially issues around stock management. These are things that are quickly closable, because most of the time the loss of stock is usually a manual mistake. But of course, after month 3 to 5, you see a difference now in terms of being able to calculate profits, being able to calculate trends about products, which products move by which products. And then by the end of month 6, we're able to give even more detailed results telling you that your customers are able to buy this, but when they buy this, usually they also buy this. So the level of reporting and results usually varies from month 1, 3 to 6. Yeah.
Perhaps, is there one tool every small business should have?
I would say if you're in the customer facing, what you call the B2C area, I would recommend that you have at least a sales and inventory tracking system such as depots. If you have a team that is a minimum of 2 onwards, I would suggest you employ a leave and payroll management platform such as HIMA HR. And if you're in the payment sphere, you can consider payment options such as Salami, which is our payment gateway. So this helps you to grow as your business grows. So start with sales and inventory. If you're in the B2C area, whatever level of business you are in, consider a HR and payroll management solution. And then as you scale, these solutions are able to scale with you. Yeah.
And even as we talk about perhaps financing, perhaps can digital tools help businesses access financing? If so, how?
Good question. So one thing we have to acknowledge is that cash follows data. Credit follows data. So the major challenge, especially in the informal sector, is that businesses actually operate really well. They are able to collect payments, they are able to serve their customers well. But once you dig deeply, you notice that some of them do not have the data to show that this is how we've been operating, this is how much we make, this is what we move, this is who we work with. So digital solutions such as depots and so forth, they help a business to be able to keep proper records, which they can then use to present to credit institutions such as banks, SACCOs and so forth. And then banks are able to evaluate this and give financing which is commensurate with the level of business.
In your final remarks, perhaps, what's your message to entrepreneurs who still believe digital tools are only for large companies?
If you look at the market in Kenya, small businesses form a chunk of the economy. As a matter of fact, if you look at the data we have, the informal sector serves about 17 million Kenyans, as opposed to the corporate sector, which is slightly below 1 million or so. So we have to acknowledge that the real economy is in the informal sector. So in order for you to build and serve this sector, you first of all have to give them corporate level execution skills, and you do this by giving them simple to use solutions. Number two is you have to support them and understand their business. You have to understand and build for their context, because each individual business is unique, right? And the way small businesses operate is largely around people as opposed to corporates which operate around processes. So I would encourage fellow tech entrepreneurs to really consider the informal sector and build solutions that work for these people and understand how and which context they operate. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. That was tech entrepreneur James Ngoge discussing with us how affordable technology is transforming the way small businesses operate. Now we move on to other news. Animal feed manufacturers are calling for tax incentives on key raw materials to encourage local production. The Association of Kenya Feed Manufacturers say rising demand for animal protein driven by a growing population has necessitated urgent action to strengthen the animal feed value chain.
Livestock contributes about 12% to the gross domestic product. However, animal feed accounts for up to 70% of livestock production costs, with manufacturers relying on imported raw materials such as soybean meal and sunflower cake. This exposes the industry to global price volatility and supply chain disruptions.
So if they can grow them in Tanzania and Uganda, why can't we grow them in Kenya? For soya, the same thing. We're importing them from Malawi and Zambia, and also Uganda. Why can't we grow our own soya in Kenya?
Another practical solution that we're looking at is the challenge of supply of raw materials that are adequate for production of feeds. And we are looking forward to intervention measures, for example, from the government, which has happened before, and we hope we can do it on a bigger scale.
The Association of Kenya Feed Manufacturers is calling for policy reforms, including tax incentives on key ingredients, increased local production of yellow maize, and affordable financing.
We want to separate this maize, the maize for animal feeds and maize for humans. For us, we would ideally go for yellow maize as our source of energy for animal feed. So we want to see how can we work with researchers, policymakers, to promote growing of yellow maize in Kenya.
So technology in production and farming is important, and also we also need to enhance biotechnology in production of raw materials for our industry.
We are looking for investors to come, speak to our membership, look at opportunities for them to co-invest and to grow the industry. I think critical for us is how we produce cheap protein going forward.
They were speaking in Nairobi ahead of the Africa Feed Exhibition and Conference 2026 that will bring together business leaders, researchers and investors to explore innovations and policy interventions. Trevor Ngendo for Lunchtime News.
Crude oil prices have risen on concerns about escalating tensions in the US-Iran conflict. Brent crude rose 4.3% to $79.26 a barrel, while US traded oil also increased by 4.3% to $74.50 per barrel. Here are the details of these and other stories making headlines across the globe.
The U.S. launched a new attack on Iran on Sunday evening, continuing days of strike between the two countries. Iranian state media reported that the strike killed one person in southwestern Iran, while 4 were injured. Within hours of the fresh U.S. strike, Iran Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps said it had struck U.S. military bases in Kuwait, Jordan, and Bahrain. The escalating attacks, which cast doubt over the future of the interim U.S.-Iran agreement signed in June, come amid conflicting claims over whether the Strait of Hormuz is open. Iran says it has closed the key waterway until further notice, while the U.S. insists it is open. The tension has pushed up crude oil prices by 4.3%. Energy prices on global wholesale markets have swung widely in recent months as traders reacted to developments in the conflicts. Meanwhile, Uganda is battling one of its hardest drought in years, with prolonged dry conditions wiping out crops, worsening food insecurity, and leaving thousands of vulnerable families at risk of hunger. The government has begun distributing emergency relief in the hardest hit Karamoja region, where officials say food shortages have already claimed lives. Humanitarian agencies warn that urgent support is needed as communities struggle to cope with the deepening crisis. Finally, Indonesia has launched its ambitious B50 biodiesel plan, raising the blend ratio of palm oil-based biofuel to 50% in diesel, a move aimed at boosting national energy self-sufficiency and cutting reliance on imported fuel. While many drivers at filling stations voice support for the plan, concerns remain over potential diesel price hikes. Indonesia is the world's largest palm oil producers, and since adopting fuel blending policy in 2008, has rolled out B2.5, B30 and B40 standards. Official data suggests palm oil consumption for biodiesel will rise from 15.2 million tons last year to 17 million tons under B50. Experts warn the move will drive palm oil prices higher even beyond Indonesia.
In other news, the Law Society of Kenya has expressed concerns over what it says are numerous reports and public information suggesting widespread electoral malpractice, misuse of public resources, voter inducement and political intimidation in the Ol-Kalou by-election campaigns. In a statement by LSK Chair Charles Kanjama, the society has warned against disenfranchisement of voters, urging IEBC to take action. This comes as opposition leaders also decried cases of violence ahead of Thursday's mini-poll. Aaron Marie has the details in the political news roundup.
The leaders raised concern over reported violence and alleged electoral malpractices in the Ol-Kalou by-election, accusing the IEBC of remaining silent.
Wamepatia watu sijui nini ili waweze kuchagua mtu wa UDA na wamesema ngo hawampatii.
Meanwhile, Kenya Kwanza leaders led by Embu Governor Cecil Mbarire called on young people in Ol-Kalou to maintain peace and participate in Thursday's parliamentary by-election.
Na mimi nawaambia nikiwa na ushuhuda wa Mbere North, ambapo watu wa Mbere North waliamua kwamba hawataki kwenda opposition, wanataka kwenda katika serikali ndio wapate maendeleo. Na mmesikia wa Mudhende mwenyewe akiwapatia ushuhuda ya ile kazi imefanywa na serikali katika Mbere North.
In Turkana County, Governor Jeremiah Lomorukai and local leaders condemned former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua over his remarks on the IEBC chairperson Erastus Ethekon.
And continue abusing a professional like Erastus Ethekon.
At the same time, the Ukweli movement joined in the calls, castigating the remarks by the former DP targeting at IEBC chairperson.
What I want to say is that leave IEBC chairman away. He's doing his own work. 80 million is just a drop in the ocean. Anybody can purchase in Kalen. Don't bring those kind of hatred, and you are dividing this country.
In Uasin Gishu County, residents of Soi constituency are calling for investigations on the area MP David Kiplagat over alleged threats and intimidation of political critics.
Nilipata ajali kama watu wengine wote. Kwa nini nakuja aseme ya kwamba Kiwete? Hii watu wanajua mimi nilipata accident nikakuwa Kiwete. Na mimi naendelea kufanya kazi.
Elsewhere in Embu County, leaders led by Senator Alexander Mundigi condemned the rising cases of political goonism, calling on security agencies and the IEBC to take firm action against those sponsoring violence.
Wanasiasa wengi nimeona wanatumia goons. Na tukiendelea hivyo tutaharibu Kenya yetu. Mimi nataka kuuliza viongozi wote wanasiasa, tujiepushe na siasa ya vita.
Meanwhile, ODM leaders from Western Kenya have endorsed Cooperative and MSME's Cabinet Secretary Wycliffe Oparanya as the Luhya community spokesperson and expressed their support for him to become President William Ruto's running mate in the next general election.
Kwa sababu hii ni mkataba ya UDA na ODM. UDA na Kenya Kwanza ikitoa presidential candidate, Deputy President naye atoke katika chama cha ODM.
And finally, a section of leaders from Garissa County have called on the national government to fast-track the reopening of the Kenya-Somalia border at Liboi, saying the prolonged closure has severely affected livelihoods and slowed economic growth in northeastern region. Reporting for Lunchtime News, I'm Aaron Murray.
From the political arena, a medical study has revealed that lifelong poverty and social economic hardships may have a far greater negative impact on healthy brain aging than a cancerous diagnosis. This is according to a study conducted by the Aga Khan University Brain and Mind Institute, which reveals that brain health is not just about genetics, but a lifetime of social economic factors.
Findings of the Brain Resilience Kenya study indicate that poverty, poor education, weak social support, and unhealthy lifestyles may have a greater influence on how the brain ages than cancer itself.
So some of the most important factors that predict how well our brain ages is early life factors. How much food someone ate in childhood, the nutritional availability of nutrients, and the availability early in life of education.
Speaking during the dissemination of the findings, the Institute's director, Professor Zul Merali, said resilience can be strengthened through supportive families, communities, health systems, and sound public policy.
We're also looking at the lifestyle factors, educational levels, social factors. So we're studying all these indicators to help us understand what makes people resilient and what factors make you frail.
The study also found that cancer patients demonstrated greater brain resilience than their caregivers, highlighting the importance of emotional and social support alongside medical treatment.
Illness, but where do we go at the end of the day? We go back to the communities. If the communities, for example, have a lot of stigma against cancer, for example, they'll treat you differently.
The research, which involved more than 400 people aged 35 and above over 3 years, examined how biological, psychological, social, and environmental factors shape brain health throughout life. The findings will guide future policies on public health programs aimed at improving brain health across Kenya. For Lunchtime News, I'm Ben Troenjue.
And now in the sports arena, Kwasini men's and women teams were crowned champions of the 2026 edition of the Captain Irene Danu Soccer Tournament, Machakos Sub-County edition, which was held at ACK Machakos grounds. The men's team claimed a 3-2 win on post-match penalties after a barren draw against Kitanga FC, while the ladies' team won 1-0 against Mutituni Queens. The winners will now play in the county edition, where the overall champion will pocket 1 million shillings courtesy of FKF in collaboration with Captain Irene. It will be a Lamine Yamal and Kylian Mbappe showdown as Spain lock horns with France in the FIFA World Cup semi-final tomorrow. Kylian Mbappe dominated the headlines as France beat Morocco 2-0 to reach the semi-finals, taking his tally to 8 goals for the tournament and moving just one behind Argentina Lionel Messi in the race to become the World Cup's all-time top scorer.
Football fanatics are set for a thrilling World Cup